Your words and your actions must match your true self.
There is a responsibility to represent God the right way to our wives and represent God the right way to our children.
Interrogate your feelings. Why do you feel the way that you feel? Where is the feeling coming from and what is causing it?
That takes a lot of humility to think that when you are in a room of 10 people, you are the least important. Hello family, welcome to Finding Beauty in Marriage, your podcast for all things marriage and a place where we build beautiful, meaningful and fulfilling relationships. And as always, you know I'm never alone. I'm with the wife of my youth, my Suguma Mgambagbone, my best friend, my co-host, and my wife, Matapelo Maluka. Say hi, Shugo.
Hello everybody, welcome to our podcast today and we hope that we have a great time like we always do.
Yes, definitely we are going to be having a great time because today we are talking about being the spouse you want to have, being the spouse that you want to have. Good marriages are built on strong foundations and being the best partner you can be will be crucial to creating a very happy, healthy and lasting connection with your spouse. Today we want to talk to you about 8 key traits that can help you become the best partner in your marriage. Remember, many of the lessons we teach in this podcast can be applied anywhere in your life, not just marriage. Your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your business partners, your relationship with your boss or your colleagues. Your marriage just becomes the best training ground for you to actually train in these areas of your life so that you can succeed anywhere else in life. Now, if you are single and looking, these traits are the ones you should be looking for. But above all, and most importantly, these traits are the traits you should aim to have so that you can become the best partner that we are talking about today. By now, I know that all of us should know that loving God with all your heart, with all your soul and your mind goes without saying. So that is not even part of this list that we are going to be sharing with you. Because we just assume that you already have that in lockdown. So, Shugu, what's the first one?
Number 1, we are talking about being self-aware. Right? This means being honest with yourself. It means understand your strengths and weaknesses. You must know if you are an open person or an honest communicator. Do you easily get angry? Or are you an active listener? Are you committed and loyal? Do you compromise or not? Or it is your highway? It is your way or the highway, right? Are you a problem solver or you are the kind of person that sweeps things under the carpet? Are you able to offer support and encouragement when it's needed, right? That is being and understanding whether you have those strengths or not, or there are weaknesses, and you have your partner alongside of you to help you if there are ones that you want to adapt, right? So the other thing that you must understand your needs. When you are self-aware, you must understand your needs. You must know what is it that you really want, what is it that you need from your partner in the marriage, and you must be able to communicate them clearly. So what being self-aware will do, it will help you avoid blaming your partner for how you behave. It helps you take ownership of your mistakes. It also improves your communication and it builds understanding of yourself and the relationship, and it can also help you resolve conflicts more effectively.
Definitely.
It is like having a mirror that reflects your strengths and your weaknesses and areas of growth, right? Helping you become a better person and partner, and also to build a stronger relationship, right? Number 2, in being self-aware, we have being aware of your emotions. You must recognize how you feel at the moment. Right? Are you anxious? Are you happy? Are you angry? Because this will help you with how you are going to act. This is this will help you in how you are going to respond. Right? You must also understand why you feel the way that you feel. Is it because of a thought? Or is it because of an event? Is it because of an experience, right? Interrogate your feelings. Why do you feel the way that you feel? Where is the feeling coming from, and what is causing it? Especially negative emotions. Don't just accept the emotions and ride along with it, but seek to understand why you feel sad. Why do you why are you angry? Why are you sad, right? Because that will help you a lot in the relationship. And like I said, it will help you with how you act. It will help you with how you respond. Being aware of your emotions will help you understand yourself better. It will also help you manage your stress and your anxieties. It will improve your communication and relationship, and also help you make informed decisions. So the moment you are honest with yourself about your emotions, you will not only be able to regulate them, but you will also be able to communicate them clearly with your spouse. This is a lengthy one. My point is quite lengthy. So the other way you can be self-aware is being aware of your behavior. How you behave. You must recognize your patterns. What are your patterns? You must know and understand your habits, both your positive habits and your negative habits, and how they affect your marriage or the relationship. You must also acknowledge your actions, right? Take responsibility for how you treat your spouse. You are in full control of how you treat them. You don't blame it on your past. Don't blame it on the long day that you had at work. Don't blame it on the fact that you are angry or in a bad mood. It is your responsibility how you treat them, and you must. It is a must that you treat them with love and respect, because they will not only get it from the world, but when they come back home, they must find love and respect. You must also understand your impact. Right? Recognize that your behavior affects your spouse, both inside of the marriage and outside of the marriage. If you see a bitter colleague, you must always wonder, there's always that thing that comes to your mind, is always blamed on the spouse for some reason. How are they being treated at home? It is because your marriage has that kind of impact on you as a person, both outside and inside. If you are a sour wife, if you are an angry wife, you can always trace it back to your spouse. So when you are aware of your behavior, you become more compassionate and mindful of your partner, right? I have key points that you can do to have self-awareness, right? You need to regulate yourself. You have self-reflection. Take time and reflect on your actions and your thoughts. Interrogate your thoughts. And before you take an action, always reflect. Always check if that is a proper action that you must take. Number 2, you must acknowledge your faults, right? You must recognize and admit your mistakes without defensiveness. You must seek feedback, right? You must always encourage and listen for feedback from your spouse. Wow.
You said a mouthful there. I like the fact that you mentioned stuff about, when someone is sour at work, it's always blamed at the spouse. And it's because, and like we said as we began this session today, your marriage becomes the training ground for everything, not just the good stuff.
True.
How you respond to your spouse would likely be how you respond even in other places. If you are used to shouting at home, chances are you continue to shout even in other places, because the marriage becomes that training ground,
People normally ask, I wonder how they are at home. You hear things like, I can't begin to imagine what the husband must be going through with the wife like this.
With the wife like
because
this,
everything is just being traced back to your marriage. But if you have you are self-aware in your marriage, definitely you will be self-aware outside of your marriage.
Definitely. And what you spoke about leads us to the next point, which is emotional intelligence, which is number 2 for today. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in a positive way. This relieves stress. If you are able to do that, it relieves stress. You will become effective in your communication. In other words, you communicate effectively. You empathize with others because you are in check. You are always in check. Not only are you self-aware, like you mentioned, but also you are in check all the time with your emotions. You are emotionally aware of what's happening with you. You are able to empathize with others. You are able to overcome challenges faster. People who can't regulate their emotions struggle with solving problems faster because their emotions get in the way and they are not able to tell that it's now my emotions getting in the way. And you are able to, as you mentioned, able to diffuse conflict very fast, because you are able to tell fast. And this is not about the other person. This is about you. It's about, what am I feeling now? Why am I feeling this way? And you mentioned quite a lot of these things. So it will make this point very short. What does being emotionally intelligent mean? It means you are self-aware. In other words, you are self-aware of how your emotions affect how you think and how you behave at that moment. You are also able to self-regulate. In other words, you are able to control and redirect disruptive emotions. Some people are not able to redirect those emotions that would be disruptive if you held on to. And as a person, you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to say, if I embrace this emotion right now, it will mean this relationship won't go far. And you are able to say, let me keep quiet. It's those small things. Some people feel like everything they think must be said. And it's not everything you think
that you must
should
say.
Be said. That you must say. And that goes into managing your emotions. Sometimes what you think in your mind is really something you want to say because it puts you first, it puts you in a great light, but also it hurts back the person who maybe have inflicted pain on you. But it doesn't mean you need to react on that emotion, because if you do, that would mean either the situation gets escalated or you get your way but lose the relationship, and that's not what you want. And that's why it's important for one to be able to have that emotional intelligence to tell when a situation or when things need to be done or not in the relationship. Lastly,
there's always a kinder and a loving way to say something.
And you are not able to say that kind, you are not able to do the or perform that kinder way of doing things or a safer way of doing things when your emotions are really high. So and this is why it's important for one to be able to self-regulate when it comes to emotions. The last one is really just being empathetic with other people. The ability to understand really the emotions of others. This also involves understanding people's emotions at that current moment and treating them according to their emotions at that current moment. Some people are so out of touch that when you're sad, they can't tell that you are sad. And they'll come and tickle you and do all these things, not realizing that you are sad. At that moment, you need a different kind of approach. And for you to have a good relationship, you need to be able to be emotionally intelligent to tell what kind of approach your partner may be needing at that moment.
That's a mouthful. That's actually a powerful point. Yeah. Number 3, be honest.
Yeah.
Right? There should be transparency in your communication.
Yeah.
Honesty is the cornerstone of trust in a relationship. It means being truthful and open even when it's difficult to do so.
Yeah.
So you must be open and transparent about your needs, right? Mm-hmm. We spoke about personal growth. If you need, in one of our previous episodes, we spoke about there is an allowance for personal growth in a marriage. So you need to be transparent about that to say that, you know what, I need some personal growth for myself. Personal time and space, right? When you need that time to go just by yourself without your spouse, if that's what you need, and it really pours into the marriage at the end of the day, communicate that, right? Be honest about it, be transparent about it. Be transparent about needing support and help in certain things and areas in your marriage. Be also honest about quality time, right, with your spouse, right? If you feel like you are being robbed of quality time in your marriage, communicate that. Tell your partner, we are not spending enough time together. I'm not getting much of you with the time that we are spending together. I need a little bit more. Communicate that. Communicate and be open and honest about managing finances in the marriage. Do you want to be part of it? Are you guys doing well? If you see that you are a saver and your spouse is a spender and it's affecting the marriage, be honest about that, right? Come out and say it. Be honest and transparent about fun and playfulness in the marriage. If you feel like your marriage is boring and there is no fun and you feel like your spouse can do better, come out and say, you know what, babe, I feel like we are not having fun. I am bored. I am bored, and I need to do something with my life, right? You communicate such things, right? You need to communicate about intimacy, something that always comes up in our
sessions.
Or not only our counseling sessions, but I think with every episode that we've had, we've never finished an episode without mentioning intimacy. So, and I know this is quite important for men. A lot of men, they need intimacy a lot. So if you are a man and you know that you are not getting that from your partner, especially the physical intimacy part, and you are not getting enough from your woman, tell them, be open and honest about it, to say that, you know what, I don't feel like we are having much of the physical intimacy and I need that from you. So those are the things that you can be transparent and honest about in the relationship. But we know that every individual and every relationship is unique, right? So the needs may vary according to importance and preference. So what is important in my relationship or another person's relationship may be totally different to another. So your spouse must know about it, because if they don't, then they cannot meet your needs. Right? It will be difficult for them to meet your need, and this will leave you frustrated, and that's affecting the marriage at the end. So the other thing that you must be honest about and transparent about is your expectations, right? We have expectations on a daily basis. You have expectations from your boss, from your colleagues, from your friends, from your children, and we have expectations from our partners and from our marriage. So what are your expectations? What do you expect from your marriage? What do you expect from your spouse? Be open and transparent about that. Be open and honest about shared responsibilities, right? Do you want equal contribution of household chores, right? Do you want to contribute equally? You want that when you cook, the other one must wash dishes. What is it? Communicate about those things. Financial decisions, like I just mentioned. Do you both and equally want to make financial decisions? Because there are relationships where one partner only makes financial decisions, maybe because they are the only ones that are bringing in the money, or they are the ones that are bringing more. So if you want shared responsibility in this area, this is something that you must be transparent and honest about. And also be transparent and honest about parenting, right? How you parent. I know this is something that we spoke about way before we had our son, to say that how would we like to parent, so these are the things. And if you feel that I remember there was a couple that came to see us for counseling, and the wife was saying that the father is a bit hard on their son. And we asked the father, does he know that he is hard? And he said, yes, I know that I'm hard, but I'm hard because he is a boy. I'm training him to be a man. But it was something that was uncomfortable for the wife. So these are the things that you need to express to your partner, to say, I think that you are being too hard on our son. Yes, you are training him to be a man, but he's only 5 years old. How do you train a 5-year-old to be a man? So these are the things that you must communicate and be open and transparent about. You must be open and transparent about boundaries. Boundaries at work, boundaries with friends, boundaries with colleagues, family and in-laws, boundaries about respect and kindness, right? Those are the things that you must put boundaries on and talk about them, to say that if you are a wife, you ask your husband, what is your boundary around respect? What is it that I would do and you would feel disrespected, right? As they always would say, they need respect. And as a wife, as a man or husband, you ask your wife, what is it that I would do that would make you feel unloved? What is that boundary that you've put around your love, that if I skip it, you would feel that you are not loved by me, right? And then spiritual or religious beliefs, you need to be this one is very important, right? You need to be open and honest about it. You can't change a person. Don't marry them now and then say that I will change them. I will pray every day. No, if it's something that you can talk about and reach a conclusion about with your partner before marriage, right? Now I'm talking before marriage. Do that. Find out where they are spiritually, and if it's something that you can join into that can lead to marriage. But if you are married, do you expect your partner or your spouse rather to have the same religious and spiritual beliefs as you? Right. So like I said, every relationship is unique, so expectations may vary based on your values and your beliefs and cultural backgrounds as a couple. The other thing that you need to be honest about and transparent about are your feelings, right? These are very, very important in marriage, right? You need to be authentic. That's number one. You must express yourself genuinely without pretense. Do not pretend. Be very, very authentic. Number two, be vulnerable, right? You must share your true feelings, especially men. I know that it may feel risky, but it's okay, because your wife knows how to best attend to your needs, or how to best handle you, right? She is your helper, as the Bible says. So with her being your helper, she is best equipped to handle you and your feelings with wisdom. Right. So I think for me, with vulnerability, a lot of men are challenged in this area. But when you are married, I believe your wife is the if not the only person that you can be vulnerable with. She should be that person that you can really go to, because some people you may not be able to be vulnerable with, but your wife must be that person that you can be vulnerable with.
And for men, really, if you are struggling with sharing or just being vulnerable with your wife, the longer you hold back, it's almost like you are not giving them that chance to actually train on how to handle you when you are being vulnerable. And the thing about vulnerability is, at some point it's going to happen. And if you haven't
it won't
trained,
be strong forever.
And if you haven't trained your wife to handle your vulnerability, when the time comes, chances are they will struggle handling you while you are vulnerable. So the sooner the better. Start being vulnerable about the smaller things. Train her to the more you give her that vulnerability, the more she learns how to handle it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of men struggle with opening up because they feel that they were not handled well when they became vulnerable in the first time. You know, it's normal.
Yeah, it happens.
You know, it's normal that someone
will not always have the answers.
At that moment also was in a state of shock that you are being vulnerable, you know. So give her that grace that, okay, she was in shock, she didn't know how to handle it, but the more you give her more of your vulnerability, the more she's going to be learning how to receive you when you are vulnerable,
and also how to help you
and also
in
how
your
to help
vulnerable
you.
state. And the other way to be honest and transparent is to be courageous. I think this feeds into the 1 year vulnerability that we just spoke about, you know, having the strength to have difficult conversations, both women and men. This will help you to communicate clearly, right? And when you do that, be specific with conveying your thoughts and your emotions at that particular time. So being honest about your feelings will make you understand your partner better, right? And yourself better, and may also create a space for them to do the same for you, or to do the same for themselves, you know, when they are when they need to be honest. So this leads to a deeper and more fulfilling connection between the two of you. So what honesty and transparency does in a relationship is that it builds trust and fosters intimacy, and also encourages growth, both for yourself and in the relationship, and also potentially your spouse.
Awesome. Number 4, I believe. Are we in number 4? Number 4, purpose driven. And before I even go into this one, I just want to say and just reiterate, for those who are single and are looking, these are the traits that you should be looking for. But most importantly, these are the traits that you should become. You know, it's more important to become a good person than to look for a good person. You know, so and if you are married already, I mean, there's no timeline. These are still traits that you can learn and become. You know, because it's just a good thing to grow as a person, and achieving these traits really shows growth. You know, and number 4, is it number 4?
I think so.
Number 4, being purpose driven. This means you can identify purpose and you can run with purpose when you see it, right? Being purpose driven means having goals and having aspirations that give your life direction, that give your life meaning. And there is nothing in this world that is as tragic as not having purpose. That's why
that's true.
When you join a company, the first thing they're gonna share with you is, when they do the orientation, they're gonna share with you what the purpose of the company is, and they're gonna tell you where you fit within that purpose. And the sad thing is, and as we always say, the sad thing is, in our marriages we don't have a clearly defined purpose, and therefore that means we do things willy-nilly, really. You know, we do things as life throws them at us, and that's not the way to live. Our marriages need to have a clearly defined purpose. Why were we brought together? You know, why? Firstly, we need to know our individual purposes. You know, why am I here? Because knowing your individual purpose determines who you get married to. You know, if my purpose is to achieve something or to leave something in this earth, and you come and want to draw me away from that purpose, we won't work. So it's important to know first what your purpose is. When you get married, what's the purpose of your marriage? Because that then leads what you do on a daily basis in your marriage. When you have kids, those kids, what's their what's their role in that purpose, you know, and it defines so many avenues in your marriage. You all things tend to fall into place when a purpose is clearly defined. Right? So what does having a purpose mean in your marriage? It means you have some set goals. Those goals are established, they are clear for both of you, and those goals are meaningful not just to you as an individual, but they are meaningful to both of you. You know, because you need to be working on these. If these are your marriage goals, or this is your marriage purpose, it means it needs to be appealing to the both of you for you to be able to work on it. What does being purpose driven mean? It means you have your partner's support, and you also support your partner. So there's mutual support between the both of you to work on these goals that you have set, to work on these aspirations that you both have for your marriage. It also means you have a shared vision. I think we talk about vision and purpose in our book, Finding Beauty in Marriage. So if you want to read more about that, get the book, and really just find out ways in which you can identify your purpose in your marriage. Right? So it means you have a shared vision and you work together towards that vision. You know, no one is pulling the other direction. If you guys want to buy a car, you know what car it is. You know how much it costs. Both of you know basically the nitty-gritties of that purchase that you want to make. But it's not only about purchasing. It's really about everything. You spoke about how we parent kids. You spoke about how we lead our marriage. You know, and all those things really can be found in your purpose for your marriage. If your purpose is clearly defined, it will then put all these things in place. You know, you will know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And that's just being purpose driven in your marriage. Now, being purpose driven means you alone need to be purpose driven. And when you meet someone else who's purpose driven, it won't be difficult to have purpose for your marriage when you do get married.
True.
And that's really why I say not only should you be looking for someone who's purpose driven, it's more important for you yourself to be purpose driven, and that will give you a better marriage.
Number 5, right? Be genuine. Right? They say what you see is what you get. You know, that's what you must be. Now, being genuine means being your true self without putting on a facade. It means what it does is that it builds trust and reduces the risk of unexpected surprises in the marriage or in a relationship. Marriage is a long time for you to not be yourself. Right? So being genuine in your marriage will help you communicate your truth. And this will in turn help your spouse to know the real you and cater to the real you, as opposed to the fake you, which will leave you frustrated and leave them frustrated and leave the marriage frustrated, because they will be missing the mark simply because you are not being genuine. Right? So key points to being genuine. Number 1, have an authentic behavior. Right? Act in a way that is true to yourself. Be yourself without pretense. Don't pretend to be happy when you are not. Right? If you are not happy, say it. I am not happy. You know, I am hurt, and this is because of 1, 2, 3. Right? Have consistent actions. Right? Be consistent rather in your actions. Your words and your actions must match your true self. You don't say one thing and do another thing. right? You must be reliable and you must be dependable, because that is what marriage is all about, right? It is a relationship of shared strengths and dependability. Number 3, you must be an open book. Right? You must share your true thoughts and feelings without fear, because marriage should be a place where there is no fear or no hiding at all. There is a place in this world where you can be as naked as you can be, it should be in your marriage, and it should be with your spouse, right? Especially when it comes to feelings and thoughts, right? Because like you said, we cannot always say things that you think, but when coming to your feelings, right, maybe it is the timing of bringing them up, but you definitely need to bring your thoughts and your feelings out, right? So because without expressing this, you will forever feel like you are in a prison with no right to ever express yourself or your opinions, and you are going to feel like you are being oppressed or your feelings are oppressed in the marriage. So being genuine helps you and your partner to trust you more, because they know that you are not pretending. They can trust you with anything, because they can trust you with information, and they can trust you with their responses, actually, because they know that you are not pretending, that whatever you say to them, they can run with it. If you're saying that you are fine, they can take your word for it that you are fine, right? And also it helps you build higher levels of intimacy, again, always, and promotes a healthy connection between the two of you. It helps your partner understand you and the real you, unlike always leaving them with having questions of whether you are pretending or not.
Awesome. Number
7.
6.
Number
Okay.
6. Number 6.
Being humble. You know, there's just something about it, man. I know it because I'm married to one. But I just want to put
I
it
am
out
married
there.
to one also.
I just want to put it out there to say, being humble means being confident, but not conceited, or not being arrogant. You are still confident, you know, but you're not being arrogant about it. And that's really where the line is drawn. You know, that you are confident, yes, but in other words, you are confident, but you don't do your confidence doesn't trample on other people's feelings, and your confidence doesn't rub people off the wrong way. You know, because you are not being arrogant. You just exhibit good confidence, you know, that even makes other people confident as well. Humility really involves being confident in yourself without being arrogant, as I mentioned. You know, it's about recognizing your worth while valuing other people equally. You know, and that's where like the line gets drawn between being arrogant and being confident. So aim to be humble. You know, aim to have humility. Aim to be, I mean, if you're look for a humble person, yes, but more importantly, as I've been reiterating, aim to be that humble person, right? Because humble people will always admit their mistakes. Always. You know, people who are not humble fail to even say sorry. And marriage requires that you say sorry. Sometimes for things that you did not do wrong. You know, it just takes that humility to say sorry, you know.
Because you acknowledge that you hurt your partner. It might not be something wrong that you did, but at the end of the day, it hurt your partner.
Exactly. So you can do something and you have every conviction in you that what you are doing is right, and it still hurts your partner. And even after they say it hurt them, you still feel I had every right to do this, but humility will say, because I've hurt you, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
And that's where that's the difference humility makes in marriage.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to have someone by your side who is humble enough to say, I was wrong when they were wrong, and to say, okay, I had every right to do this, but it hurt you, so I'm still sorry. And you want that. You want someone who's going to give you an apology that is sincere.
Definitely.
And an apology that is sincere can only come from a humble person.
True.
The second thing is, humble people value others. Sometimes more than they value themselves. And that's what the Bible says. The Bible says, regard the next person more important than you are.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of humility to think that when you are in a room of 10 people, you are the least important.
Yeah.
It takes quite a lot of humility to do that for yourself. Humble people will always appreciate and respect your opinions and your contributions to the marriage.
True.
You cannot be married to a humble person and still feel like you are not valued. That's just how things are.
True.
Humble people are open to learning. Humble people will always want to learn because they know through humility that they cannot be the smartest person in the room. So when you are married to a know-it-all, it becomes so difficult, to teach them anything new, because they feel they already know everything about marriage there is to know, and chances are they're not even listening to this podcast as we speak because they feel that they know everything, and we are so blessed to be around elderly couples who still want to learn from us.
Yeah.
And we feel, no man, we should be learning from you. And it's so amazing how these couples are so open to learning, and they are so eager and ready to receive from us. And
they even threaten us.
Yeah.
When is the next episode?
And you're thinking to yourself, but we should be the ones receiving from you.
Yeah.
But I love their humility in that, and this is testament to why they are 20 years married. Why they are 30 years married. It's because they are open to learning, and
doesn't matter where it's coming from.
It doesn't matter where it's coming from. It doesn't matter how many years they've been in this marriage. They just feel, if I have a chance to make it better, I will make it better.
I will take it,
And it doesn't matter where that lesson comes from. Even if it comes from
people that have been married for 2 years.
Yeah, people who've been married for just 6 months. If they can teach us something, we'll take it and run with it. And that makes the difference between marriages that make it and marriages that don't. Is that humility. Because if you are not humble enough to say, okay, I don't want to fight right now, let me keep quiet. You are, when your partner raises their voice, guess what's going to happen? You're going to raise your voice as well, because you are just not humble enough to tell that, no man, here I need to just keep quiet to keep the peace of the family. At some point, yes, you're going to need to raise it to say, okay, I didn't like how you spoke to me. But you still do that in a humble way. You still do that in a very
loving and respectful
caring,
manner.
Respectful, yes, in a respectful manner. And that's what makes the difference between the marriages that make it and marriages that don't.
Sure. That is a really, really powerful powerful point right there. I learned quite a lot actually. Yeah, you see, that's being humble. You are learning.
It's being humble.
Okay, point number 7, consistency, right? Consistency talks about walking the talk, right? So it means following through on your commitments and being dependable. It means you are reliable and you maintain the same tone of behavior in your marriage. You can be consistent in your marriage by, number 1, following through on your commitments. Keep promises and maintain reliability. Your spouse must know and never doubt that they can rely on you for anything. They must be sure that when coming to the promises made by you, they can never wonder or doubt. Because there are people whose spouses can never rely on them for anything. Whenever they make a promise, their spouses just rolls their eyes because they know that you will never come through on your promises. So you must be that kind of person. You can disappoint anyone anyway, but do not disappoint in your marriage. Do not disappoint your spouse, right? Uphold that commitment that you made to them by following through on your commitments on a daily basis. If you say that I'm going to call you, if you say that I'm going to buy this, if you say that I'm going to fix something, as men take forever to fix things.
Wow. Is that a shot now?
You must, follow through on fixing that thing. The other one, number 2, you must show up regularly. I love this one. Showing up in your marriage. You can do this by regularly rescheduling quality time with your spouse. That's one. You can be consistent when offering support, right? Your spouse must know that, you know what, my spouse or my husband, my wife has my back, right? Just yesterday we were talking with some couple, and the wife was doing something funny and the husband joined in, and we laughed, you and I laughed, and she said, you know what, my husband is my wingman. When I do something, he just follows. He does not ask, he's there. He will ask afterwards he will ask, but he is there. Right? So you also, like I'm saying, you must, when coming to supporting them, you must show support, right? This is one thing that will give your partner confidence to say in their marriage, because they know that if I'm crying, my partner is there. If I need help, my partner is there, right? I can be confident of their support. And the other thing is that your spouse must know that there can never be a time when you will not show up in supporting them. Be consistent in standing up for them against anyone. Anyone is anyone. Right? Stand up for them from your parents, from your children. My goodness. These people can really come in and just cause a division. But they must know that mommy and daddy are one. Mommy will stand up for daddy and daddy will stand up for mommy. Right? Stand up for them with your friends, right? You cannot allow your friends to speak or say anything bad or untrue about your spouse in your presence, even if it's jokingly. They must not say it. So key points to being consistent: number 1, keep your promises. I've already mentioned that. Do what you say you will do. It's as simple as that. If you can't do it at the time you are supposed to do it, communicate that I will do it later, but it must be done. Right? And don't say you are not going to communicate time and you say to your spouse that I said I will do it and it's done 2 years from now. No. At least if you are a wise woman out there, you will ask for a time frame, right? Or a spouse for that matter. Number 2, reliable actions, right? Be someone your partner can count on. I've already mentioned that. And then consistent behavior, maintain consistent action and attitude.
Definitely consistency is key. Like you mentioned, it builds trust. We hear that a lot in our counseling sessions, where one would say, I'm struggling with him or her because they're just not consistent.
Yeah.
You know, one day you get this version of him or this version of her, the other day you get the other type of version. You know, and consistency really builds trust. Someone struggles with building trust because
there's no consistency.
Yeah. There is nothing they can hold on to say, I know this person.
I'm taking them up on their word.
Yes, this is how they are. You know, because when you are consistent, what you are simply saying to a person without even saying it with your words, consistency says to the next person, this is how I am, and this is how you need to receive me. You know, if I teach you that I come home at 7, I can remove a lot of stress from your mind. When I'm not home by 5, you're not worried where I am. You know, you are not worried about it because you know that I always make it home by 7. And that's what consistency does. It's not just about time, it's about everything else. If I can give you a certain level of consistency in the things that I do, then you can know to put your mind at ease that it doesn't matter what's happening. I know he's going to be doing this because he's shown and he has a proven track record of being consistent when it comes to taking care of me. He's shown he has a proven track record of being consistent when it comes to doing 1, 2, 3. And that's why consistency is really important. And as I mentioned, and I'm going to continue mentioning this, look for someone who is consistent, you know, but most importantly, become a consistent person, right? Number 8, and I think this is the last one.
Yeah, definitely.
Being ethical. Being ethical is so important. Being ethical speaks to having integrity in every aspect of your life. And in a country like ours, South Africa, I think we're struggling with ethical leadership, first of all, you know, and before you know it, everyone is doing things that are unethical because, you know, it's seen as a normal thing to do.
Yep.
But being ethical, especially if you are going to go into a long-term relationship, is really, really important. I cannot stress the importance of being ethical. Being ethical means upholding strong moral principles. It also means being honest, being fair, and being just in all your actions. Speaking to men, God is just. There is a responsibility, especially for husbands. There is a responsibility for us to represent God the right way to our wives and represent God the right way to our children. So having or upholding upright moral principles and being honest and being fair and being just in our dealings, whether we're dealing with our kids, whether we're dealing with our wives, is so important so that they get to see who God is. When kids pray and they say, "Our Father in heaven," the reference they need to have is of their Father in earth, you know? And when your wife prays to God and say, "My Father in heaven," they need to, first they have that reference from their biological father, but they also have that reference from you as their husband. Now, if their father was not an honest man and you yourself are not honest, it makes it difficult for them to approach God as an honest father, you know, because anything that has father in them doesn't seem to be an honest thing. So you're giving them a really hard time to appreciate God for his good qualities. So it's important for us as men to really be, and I'm digressing here, I'm now talking to men, but everyone, really needs to have that quality of being honest. You need to deal. Your dealings must be fair at all times. Your dealings must be just at all times.
Don't have secret accounts and stuff.
You know, it's about having, okay, this is how much I earn. You know.
I'm laughing because these are some of the things that we encounter, and you're like, but
we're shocked. Like,
what is happening? The husband doesn't know how much the wife is earning. The wife doesn't know how much the husband is earning.
Where is your oneness in that? You know, where is your oneness if you can't share with your wife how much you are actually earning? You know, they know you bring money into their house. They know you are bringing 30,000, only to find at a later stage that you actually earned much more than that. It's just not a fair way of dealing. It's not an honest way of dealing. You know, it's not being ethical. So, integrity, uphold honesty and strong moral principles. Fairness, treat your partner with fairness and justice at all times. You know, if people want to know, or if your partner wants to know what fair means, they need to find it from you. Somewhere else they may not be treated fairly, but if they want to experience fairness, they need to know that they can find fairness with you. Lastly, and you spoke about this, accountability, taking responsibility of your actions. It's so important, and that it speaks to being ethical. Ethical people always take responsibility for their actions. You know, they do not play the blame game. You know, if I did wrong, I will take the responsibility for my wrongs and I'll own up to them. And that's what being ethical means. So strive to be an ethical person. Start now. You know, those little things that you are not doing right, you know, start now and correcting them before it's too late. Because once your partner realizes you haven't been ethical, it's going to be so difficult to build that trust that we were speaking about. You know, these things can seem so small, but once you break them, it's so hard to rebuild on them. So start now. Those small things, you know, expose them. I always say an exposed sin is a defeated sin. So expose those little things that you haven't been truly honest about, and start building from there. I hope you both are listening to this podcast so that you know where it's coming from. You know, it shouldn't be a shocker. You know, so be gracious as well when your partner is trying to self-correct, not like the other party. When your partner is trying to self-correct, be gracious to them, give them that time and the chance to actually self-correct and actually help them to self-correct. You know, when they haven't been ethical in other ways and they are trying to be ethical, help them reach their ethical goals. And that's what makes up this episode. Do you have some last words?
Wow. I think the only thing left to do here is just to conclude, you know, by saying that cultivating these traits, these 8 traits that we've been talking about, it makes you become the best partner in your relationship. Right? And more so if your partner is going to do the same, you're going to have an amazing relationship.
Amazing marriage.
And what this does is that they create a strong marriage, a healthy marriage, and a lasting connection between the two of you.
Definitely.
Relationships or marriages rather strive on mutual respect. We've been talking about this a lot, on trust also, and on continuous growth together. So with that being said, this is it,
closing it
for today's episode.
Awesome. Remember, there is beauty in your marriage. Show up, be present, and keep loving. Bye-bye.